I'd like to talk about a topic that I am immensely fascinated by and have been curious about for a really long time. As you know, we only focus on product page optimization, which means when we work with clients, we're singularly focused on their best selling product page and we're trying to improve conversion rates of this page by 20%. And that's what we laser focus on and that's what we achieve. But the question, of course, is how do we actually go about doing it? And of course, we apply a whole bunch of tricks. But one of the techniques that we use that is incredibly powerful, that almost no retailer that I know of or marketer that I know of is using, is something that we call active participation. One of my big gripes with how marketers are doing marketing is I'm going to show you an example. By the way, none of these are going to be our client websites. We have NDAs, but I can show you how I can show you prototypes of ideas that we've tested, so you can actually see how it works. So I'm going to just pick up this product page. This is their bestseller. And I know it's a popular item for them, and I know it's an important item for them. They have 1,000 reviews. I would guarantee you that they are selling pretty high number of these in order to have collected 1,000 reviews. And of course, it's more than any of the other products on their website. So we know that it's a popular item for them. But here is my concern with marketing, right? Is that we have a page, and essentially I'm imagining a loudspeaker, and as a marketer, I am speaking loudly about what the product does and giving all the details, right? So there's not even that much detail here, but it's there are some details over here, but it's all one directional, right? There's only one way to consume this information, by reading it. And this is the thing that I think is the lost opportunity, because think about how complicated a problem marketers have made this for themselves. If you're a marketer and you are trying to say, hey, listen, I need to talk to all the different types of users that are coming to my website, and I need to talk to all of them in one voice. Can you imagine how complicated that is? Now, I consider myself to be an extremely lazy guy. I am not interested in wasting my time in trying to get in people's heads and figure out what they want. I want to figure out a clever way of just telling them, tell me what you want so I can tell you a story that matches up with your worldview. And that's kind of how we came about with active participation. So the idea behind active participation is that while the user is consuming our product story, as they're kind of immersed and, kind of experiencing the wonders of this product that they haven't bought. Remember, the challenge here is we're weaving a story that is going to help them visualize or at least immersively feel what the product is going to do for them once they get it in their hands. But we're active participation is a mechanism. Not only does it make my job easy as a marketer, it's also very, very effective from a marketing perspective, because now the user is able to interact with me and tell me about the things they care about, tell me about who they are, and then in the back end, I'm able to personalize that sales pitch and make it way more effective. So I'm going to show you maybe 4 or 5 examples today, and hopefully you like them. I wanted to give enough variety of examples so you could see, so you could see that this applies to your product page as well. Okay, so let's start with this page itself. So they sell I guess it's a glass or plastic, some surface for the chair, and in the image they're showing a wooden floor, but that's not necessarily the case for all their buyers, right? People have different types of surfaces. And if here's the thing, right? Someone who's buying this product has a very specific type of floor in their office, and it's either carpet or it's hardwood or it's concrete, whatever it is. I mean, it's something, right, specific. They don't give a damn about how this product does on multiple surfaces, because the person who's buying it has just one surface. So you can actually use active participation in this very specific instant to not just connect with the buyer, but to actually then tell them a really compelling story. So here's what we've done, right? We're simply we start the conversation over here. No, not here. Apologies. We what we do is we ask this question: what type of flooring do you have in your office? And there are two buttons. We put this curly bracket to indicate to ourselves that it's an active participation element versus a design element. And there are two options over here: carpet and hardwood. And if they click on hardwood, for example, then we change the copy to say what we're doing in this case is we're picking up reviews that match up with their selection. So the review over here says, I completely ruined my beautiful bamboo floor that I thought was impervious to rolling desk chair. So if they say hardwood, we're showing them a review that matches up with that scenario. If they click carpet, we're showing them a review that matches up with that selection. So in this case, you can see we're using active participation to personalize the reviews and the social proof that we're showing them. Let's look at another example. So this also is one of their best sellers on this website. And again, I'm just going on based on the number of reviews. This is not a client of ours. But let's think briefly about who is the buyer for this. Essentially, these guys are selling a soft shell heated jacket. So it has like this internal cabling where I think it uses a battery to kind of keep it warm. And I think it's a really cool invention. But let's think about the person who's buying it. I can tell you right now, it's someone who is sensitive to cold. There's no other reason why they would buy it. So what we're doing is we wanted to kind of help that user self-segment themselves. So what we've done is we've given them 3 active participation elements. One says, I work outside all day. So we're assuming that a lot of their customers would be people who are working outdoors, who spend a lot of time working on outdoors, and that's why they need something to keep them warm. So I work outside all day, but it could also be someone who likes to spend time outside, not just for work. And it could also be someone who just really likes to stay warm. The really likes to stay warm essentially is being used as a catch-all for people that don't fit into this group or this group. But again, this is a great example of active participation because based on that selection, they are telling us, like if someone clicks on this button, they're telling me I have a job where I'm working outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely reformat the sales pitch and completely frame it from the perspective of like, this is designed for people who work outdoors. And, we'll talk about all the things that people who work outdoors really care about. I want to give another example of active participation. So this is a pellet grill and it costs $750 and it has tons and tons and tons of features. As you can imagine, it's a technical product. But would a user on this page, here's what the marketer has done. The marketer by default is talking about all the features in detail. But would the buyer on this page really care about all the details? I doubt it. People care about specific things and they don't care at all about other things. So you can again use active participation to allow the user to select the things they care about. So you can show this as like checkboxes, for example. By the way, this is something we've tested extensively. And you can just say, okay, check all the things that you care about. Some people will check all, and that's fine. Some people will check a few of them, and some people will just check 1 or 2. But irrespective, now you've allowed the user through the mechanism of active participation to talk about the things that they care about. And then what happens is you're only surfacing content that matches up with the things that they care about. So this not only does it unclutter the page, it also gives users relevant information. It also, by the way, has a psychological effect because, and this is something that has been tested extensively, not just by us, but by economists. And the idea is that when you tell people, when people voice what they care about, then they have essentially a social contract with themselves and they have to follow through. At least they tend to follow through. So if someone says, I care about these 3 things, there's a higher likelihood, much higher likelihood they'll read that content versus if we showed the content by default. All right, let's look at another example. This is a smart scale. And as you will see, you'll notice a trend here. We are really fascinated by consumer products. In fact, that's the category that I'm most fascinated by or excited about. But if you are selling a smart scale, again, let's think about the psychology of the buyer and how we can use active participation for people that come to this page. Someone who is buying a device like this has a specific goal. People don't buy products for the sake of buying products. They buy them because they're trying to make progress in their life. So how do we use active participation? Here, what we've done is we weave this into the conversation. This is an important point. The purpose of active participation isn't to just like show like a wizard. That's not going to work. What's going to work is you essentially start your description like over here or maybe over here, and then you at some point weave into that conversation some of these qualifying questions. So the qualifying questions over here is like, please tell us what best describes you. I try hard or want to be better at managing health, but life gets in the way. Have some ways to manage health, but there is scope of improvement, or have expertly employed systems that help you manage your health. These are all very different personas and very different awareness levels of buyers. And what happens is, depending on what those selections are, you can completely transform the copy. This is another point I want to make about active participation. You don't necessarily have to rewrite the copy for each selection. The copy could pretty much be indistinguishable, but then we call it, then it has a placebo effect, right? Because what is the user still feels that you are being heard. If someone is selecting themselves as being this person, the fact that you've given them a choice to select that option confirms to them in their mind that you understand them. Now, your prescription might be exactly the same, irrespective of whether they had picked this choice or this choice, and that's immaterial. What matters is the fact that the user felt like they were being heard. That's why we say that active participation effectively has a placebo effect as well. So you don't necessarily have to rewrite all of the copy. Let's look at another example. Bay ST, this is a really amazing product. It's a foldable kayak. And we've got lots of ideas for these guys, but I want to just focus on the active participation part of it. Think about it. Someone is coming to this page. What kind of groups can we break them into? Well, they could be someone who's actually brand new to kayaking, or they could be someone who has done kayaking for a very long time, right? And at least there are many, many other ways of segmenting them, but these are two pretty broad, important segments. And as you can imagine a scenario where a customer walks into your office, and I'm going to ask you this question. Would you give them the same sales pitch if they were, and you were selling kayaks? And if someone said that, hey, I've never kayaked before, versus someone else, customer two, walked in and said, I've been kayaking all my life. I've just never used a foldable kayak. This seems cool as hell. Would you give both of them the same sales pitch? Because I can guarantee you that you would not do it in person. That would be asinine. But yet on the website, we do exactly that. We give both of them the same page and we're like, well, just deal with it. And you don't have to. You can use active participation to actually prevent that from happening. So what we've got over here are we're saying, hey, tell us what your level is. A beginner, intermediate, and expert. And based on those selections, we are personalizing copy. We've got actually another one. For this example, we have two active participation elements. We're basically saying, this is a really important point as well. Okay, this is a $1,500 item. I guarantee you, no matter who you are, this is not an impulse buy. This is not something that people are buying in two minutes of being on the product page. Now, if you're so clearly some people are going to care a lot about details and some people don't care as much about details. Again, why are we why are we treating all of them the same way? So what we've done here is we are saying, hey, how much time do you have? Now, someone who says 3 minutes is probably someone who is just looking for the main points, like what is unique about this product. But if someone says that I have 27 minutes, what they're saying really in effect to us is that I am a methodical shopper. I want to get all the gory details about this product. I want to understand every damn thing about it, and then I'll make a purchase. If we can extract from the user what their personality trait is, then that is really powerful, because we can take this and we can kind of show them a 27-minute version, like super, super, super detailed version of the sales pitch, and get amazing impacts on conversion rates. In fact, we actually have a case study for this one. So if you go to our test lab, and if you scroll down to, if you go to our test lab, this is where we have all our case studies, by the way. So feel free to see all of them. I think you'll find them quite interesting. This is the one that we did for one of our clients. And what we did was, again, because I'm lazy, I didn't want to necessarily have to imagine how much time someone had. So we just put two buttons. We gave a little intro copy over here. And we said, how much time do you have? And said, I have 2 minutes and I have time. We knew that people who selected 2 minutes this is an air purifier. It's a pretty complicated product. We knew people who selected 2 minutes would want the elevator pitch. And someone who said, I have time, is already telling us through their action that they really, really want to get the proper details. And what we did was, for people who selected this, we gave them the full detailed explanation for what the product did. For people who selected 2 minutes, we gave them the 2-minute version of that same sales pitch. Both had the same impact, but they were personalized for those groups. What effect did this have on conversion rates? Well, it increased sales by 30%. 30.56% sales went up. So by simply adding two buttons, and of course we personalize the copy as well, but that's a pretty remarkable outcome. I'm going to show you one more example. Actually, I have two more examples. So let's think about a company that is selling a pillow. What can we guess about people who are buying a pillow? Why would someone be looking for a new pillow? Well, there's a bunch of reasons. They might be looking for a pillow for a variety of reasons, but one very important principal reason might be because they are getting crappy sleep and they are looking for a better solution. And they've gone to Google, they've searched for something, and they're looking to find a pillow that would, that does a good job for them. So let's reflect back to them their frustration. So we can use active participation here. The way we would do that is by saying, how many different pillows have you tried? 1, 2, 3, too many to count. Can you imagine? Just think for a minute the difference between someone who says too many to count and someone who clicks 2. This is a moderate level of frustration. In fact, this might not even be frustration, right? This could simply be someone who's got an old pillow and looking for a replacement. This demonstrates extreme frustration. And if I was a sales guy and I was talking to an actual customer, I would give a very different sales pitch to people who select too many to count versus people who select 2. If it's 2, I would focus on, like, oh my God, you've completely missed out on the innovations that have happened over the last couple of years. This is like, we've created the best pillow in the world, blah, 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 blah. And for someone who says, too many to count, we'll first of all empathize with them and say, we're really, really sorry you had to have this bad experience. That's actually how we got started too. We didn't want to start a pillow company. We wanted to just get a good night's sleep, and we tried 12 pillows and none of them worked. And then at some point we just couldn't take it anymore. And then we kind of talk about the origin story of the product. So that's another example of active participation. And I want to give just one final example, and this is an important one as well. Sometimes, so this product over here is a masticating juicer, which means that the motor moves in a very slow, methodical way, and it's designed to maximize the extraction of juice from fruits. Now, there are 2 types of people that are coming to this page. There are people, of course, it's a juicer, so that's understood. But there are some people who are coming to this page who know what a masticating juicer is, and there are some people who are coming to this page who are new to the category altogether. So in that case, you can use active participation to self-segment those people. So over here, we just simply add a button, what we call active participation. Never used a masticating juicer. Clearly, someone who's not used a masticating juicer will need to hear a different version of the story versus someone who has. And the only people who would click on it are people who have never used this type of machine before. So I've given you guys a bunch of examples for active participation. If now at the end of the video, you're still like, I'm not sure how I can use it in your website, I'm going to wring your neck, because I absolutely think you can use it in, I've given you so many examples. Just think about your shoppers and think about all the different binary segments we can put them in. Each of those scenarios, binary segments, first-time buyers, people who are new to your category, people who are going to buy today versus who are going to buy, who are just in research mode, people, all of these, the level of frustration, all of these things, all of these categorizations are opportunities for us to personalize our sales page. These all are active participation elements. And now what you have to do is you have to just inject that in the product page. The thing I want to just caution against is, don't take it literally and say, oh, I'm going to hide all my description and I'm going to just give them a questionnaire right on top. See, the problem with wizards is the fact that people know what to expect. We know that we're going to go through this wizard device and it's going to make a product recommendation to me. I don't really think it's the most, not to say that it's not effective at all. Of course, wizards are effective. We're a huge fan of wizards. But I think what's even more effective is if you can naturally weave it into the conversation. Again, let's look at the sales floor analogy. Imagine if I walk into a store and the sales guy, very smartly dressed, very happy looking guy, comes up to me and says, stop right there. Here's a list of 10 questions I have for you. And I'm going to give you the most amazing sales recommendations. But here are human beings do not talk that way. On the other hand, if that salesperson came up to me and struck up a conversation, a very organic, interesting conversation, he could weave or she could weave into that simple qualifying questions in the conversation, which is, by the way, what good salespeople do anyway. All we are doing is we are applying those same sales techniques to web copy. That's it. That's what active participation does. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.